Ryan McAllister here. Let's cut to the chase. How are we going to determine R2 versus R3 versus R4? R2, we've got an open flower at one of the two uppermost nodes. So we look in the two uppermost nodes along the main stem and we see open flowers, and we're at R2. We typically have 8 to 12 nodes. Now the height is going to vary. Take a look at these two R2 plants. The height varies dramatically, but the nodes are stacked together. So open flowers at one of the two uppermost nodes. We get to R3, our beans are just now starting to enter this for the most part. Some of the earliest planted are there. 3/16 inch pod at one of the four uppermost nodes. So we count down fully developed leaves, nodes 1, 2, 3, and 4. And right here, we have a 3/16 inch pod. Now look on down towards the bottom of the plant, and you will see a pod that we can count 3 beans in. Bean plants produce pods from the bottom up. So if we are truly at R3, you're going to see some pods in the bottom of some of these plants. And this one fools people a lot. They go early at R2, but if you're not seeing any pods in the bottom, you're probably not there yet. But we're looking at the upper foremost nodes. Now, how do we know when we move from R3 to R4? Well, again, we now move from a 1/4 of an inch pod roughly to a 3/4 of an inch pod at one of the 4 uppermost nodes. These plants typically have 13 to 20 nodes, so they're getting bigger. So we count down 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we see at the 4th node down, we have about a 3/4 of an inch pod. And again, even more beans down in the bottom of the plant, as you can see, with beans that are starting to develop. Let's look at some commonly asked questions that we're getting this year. Number one, are my beans are short. Is my yield potential already less? Keep it focused on that question. And so I'm going to tell you no, it doesn't mean your yield potential is less, because plant height doesn't have a lot to do with it. It's node count. Do you have the number of nodes out there? And then also what we're seeing this year is this phenomenon. We usually abort 60 to 75% of our flowers, but we're getting these cluster formations. We're retaining flowers because we're getting rain and it's not excessively hot. My beans go from R2 to R3 and back to R2. I don't know for sure if they're R3. How can I tell? Well, they don't really do that, but look at the bottom of the plant. Again, if you're not seeing any pods like this in the bottom of the plant, you're not at R3 yet. We're determining it by the top 4 nodes, but you will see some pods like that in the bottom. How long will R3 last? Depends on the weather, but about 10 days. Should I err on the side of early or late if I'm spraying fungicide? Late, okay? If you're gonna miss it late, and let's protect the developing pods and keep disease at bay while we're filling those pods and making beans. So that's all I got. You got questions, call your local Triag sales agronomist.